Welcome to Rooster Radio, a broadcast dedicated to supporting and promoting local artists in the Gaston County and surrounding areas.
Officially clackety clack.
Nice.
Sorry. It's like the best toy. That, my megaphone, and the cowbell. The cowbell back here.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
And the tambourines.
The Blue Oyster Cult came on the playlist this morning I was listening to, and I thought about the cowbell. And I was like thinking about the whole like skit, and it made me think about that era of SNL and how that might be like the one thing from that era that will like live on forever. Because that era was a weird era, at least to me. I didn't think it was a very funny cast.
They had a few, like Will Ferrell's funny, and a couple other guys here and there.
Chris Kattan had a lot of funny characters.
SNL in general goes through highs and lows.
He did nothing after that, but he was so good on there.
He did Bollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
That's what. Yeah, he
really?
did a bunch of Bollywood stuff.
Oh, okay.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not know that.
He came to the club one time. I was working at the Roxbury. He was in town doing comedy, and his comedy's horrible.
Yeah, I can
He'll
imagine.
just be like, okay, you guys want to hear a joke, or who do you want me to imitate? He'll just kind of go up to, he's really kind of angry.
Yeah.
And that's something, my friend worked over there, and he's like, all comedians are angry.
They really are.
And I'm like, I never would think, why would he? Because, they live for, that's it. They don't hear it, they get mad. But so my boss goes down there. So can you just make an appearance? He goes, $1,000. All right. You go to the Roxbury Club, so he walks in, his hands in his pocket, he goes, he's got the Coke. That's all he's looking for. He just wanted his money, Coke, signed a couple autographs, took some pictures, left. Like real angry guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad to hear.
It is.
I don't
It's
know.
just
Maybe he didn't feel like you got the success he deserved or something.
but like that one guy's been on there like 20 years. That's why I would have done.
Keenan?
Yeah, he's been on a long time. I would just stayed. Coast, that's like your zone.
I mean,
just stay.
When when Keenan started out on all that on Nickelodeon, I was like, he's going to be on SNL one day.
Yeah.
And
But he knows
that-
that's a good lane for him.
yeah,
It's
I
like,
mean,
just
all
stay.
that was
Not
nothing but
everybody makes
SNL
it,
for
you know?
kids.
Yeah,
That's
not
all
everybody
it
can be a
was.
skit actor. But
I mean,
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon, if he wouldn't have got late night, because he tanked 3 movies, so he wouldn't have done anything.
No, he'd have
after
been
that.
back at SNL.
Yeah, or a writer or something. Yeah.
Keenan spoke on that at one time. He's like, I got kids. I got a family.
Right.
That's
He's
security.
smart.
Yeah, it is smart, and he's good at it.
He really is.
I don't know. I would like to believe. You don't know how you're going to react or how you're going to be until you're actually in a situation like that. Like, I don't know what level of success it would take for me to fly off the rails, right? Like, I'd like to believe I would handle it just fine. I'm a pretty grounded, family-oriented guy. I wouldn't see myself going nuts. I mean, I could see myself going out of my way to say "fuck you" to some people. Like I could see doing that. Might
Getting
be
up in your personal
yeah,
business.
yeah. That might be like the extent of my shittiness. But you never know. You put unlimited resources in my hand. Who knows where I'm going to go with it? Some people don't handle it well. That's why there's like an art to being famous. That's why some people are really fucking good at it.
And that's why some
You know what I'm
people
saying?
really fuck up.
And then you hear about the train wrecks.
Yeah.
Good, you need good handlers.
Yeah.
Remember, like when Tom Cruise jumped around on the couch?
Yeah.
And there was what happened to Tom Cruise? Well, he fired his publicist after like 20 years, and she kept him in line.
Yeah.
Like you do this is they structure you, and it's not there. And I don't know if it was his sister or his sister took over or something, but then he went bananas. If you don't have somebody guiding you, you're going to keep hitting the sides.
Yeah, that speaks volumes to who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
It's like we're in a small town USA here, right? Like it's really hard to find people to put in your circle that want to be a part of what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Like once you reach a certain level of success, people are clamoring for your time. And some of these people have that structure in place beforehand, and others have to go seeking it out, and it's kind of hard to find in a small town, right?
It really is.
But every day I try to surround myself with positive people that like have their mind in the right place. Because you see it just in our local scene how like certain groups of people, they get together and it's just fuck's going on over there?
What kind of fuckery is this?
So yeah, it's really like people don't think about that. Like who you let into your circle, who you trust, who you put your trust in, how that can affect your future and the way you come off to people and things like that. Yeah.
Just
well,
keep
let's
your
start
circle
there. Let's
tight.
talk. Hey, everybody, we're talking to Hellfire 76. Always forget the intro. Got Mike and Von Berry here. Thanks for coming back on the show, guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. They will be here on the end of the month. What is the date there? It's Friday. 30th. Friday the 30th of August. We've got Den of Wolves. Can't wait to see those guys
Great
again.
band.
Yeah.
We got Ravener, that's the touring band, and we got the White Horse and Manic Society, two young up and coming bands.
Yeah.
So we got a little mix of everything. It's going to be a fun night of hard rock and metal. I can't wait. Love you guys. It's been a minute since you've been here, right?
Been a minute.
It has been a minute.
Yeah. So
We're here in April.
yeah, you had a Thursday show.
Yeah.
So like we finally got you here on a
It was
Friday.
a leap year show.
Yeah.
That's right, the
It was
leap
a
year
leap
show.
year
That's,
show.
yeah.
It was.
That was another 5-band show.
So we always plug you guys. Anytime we play with other bands, there was like, where should we play in Charlotte? I said in Gastonia.
Yeah.
We do it all. We did the other night. We were like, hey, this band from were they from Roanoke?
Roanoke.
Yeah, we were like, we're gonna bring you guys in for our album release for sure. Like, where should we play? I was like, Gastonia.
Yeah, we're doing our best to rub the stank off Gastonia. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's still the majority of people still look down their nose at Gastonia, but we're slowly changing
But
that.
then last night I heard somebody say, I hate Gastonia, but this is the only reason I come to Gastonia is to come to the
I have no
Rooster.
reason to hate it. It's like, why would you hate a zip code? Really?
Personal issues, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, but
It just drives
hey,
me nuts.
they come here, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy here last night. Him and I guess it was his girlfriend, wife, whatever. They were a little older than me. Super nice couple, super cool. And the guy was like, at one point he calls me over. And he's like, man, I lived in Belmont for 18 years, and I just moved to Charlotte, and I never knew a place like this would ever be in Gaston County. This place is awesome. Like he was hyped.
Yeah.
He was, you're talking about this
Yeah,
guy that
yeah.
was like, oh,
Yeah, he was having a
He had
great
a
time,
blast.
and super cool. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And I said, thank you. Please tell your friends. I spread the word.
yeah.
It's weird because we were just in Winston the other night. And what's interesting about Winston-Salem is that people in Greensboro, High Point and stuff, they'll drive to Winston-Salem. It's a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
And that's normal for them to go to Winston, go to High Point, whatever. But in Charlotte, to get somebody to drive 20 minutes, you'd think you were just asking them to, like, drive to Texas.
But the people from Gastonia will drive to Charlotte.
We'll drive to
go
Charlotte.
shows.
And
Yeah.
so Belmont, and yeah, they
Well,
do. It's
since-
just weird to me.
Since
is.
we've opened, I mean, to this day, I'm still seeing more Charlotteans and people from around Charlotte than I am Gastonians.
Oh, good.
Specifically on the weekends. Like, when we do the open mic, it's a lot of locals, but then in the open mic, we get people that drive 2 hours away.
Yeah.
There's a
It's
handful
also a
of
lot
people.
cheaper to drink here than it is in Charlotte.
Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
in
that.
general.
There's the upsell.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny. Like people are willing to cross the river and drive 45 minutes to an hour to come to shows here, but the people that live down the street won't. I mean, walking distance.
I think you get so used to everything, especially if you live like near downtown Charlotte. Everything is right there all the
Everything-
time.
yeah, it's
So if
easy.
somebody's like, yeah, let's go to Gastonia, let's go whatever, 20, 30 minutes down the road. It's like, I could just go 5 minutes walking distance from here.
Or like
you
take
know.
a lift. I can go.
It's not the
anywhere in
same.
Charlotte for $8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
hard. I don't know how much it is out here to come from there, but I might try it one day just to do
Well,
it.
I live out on Crowder's Mountain, and I can tell you that to get home from the Fillmore to Crowder's Mountain, it's over $50.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got stuck there one night after a show, and had to Uber all the way home. That was an expensive ride home, but it was worth it not getting a DUI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot cheaper.
expensive.
For that lawyer.
Yeah.
DUI now is about $15,000.
Yeah, it was like 10 grand when I was in my 20s
Yeah.
or so. I had a
It's
couple of
expensive
friends.
But you get automatic 14 days now. Automatic.
Yeah.
No lawyer will get you out of it. They pass the law.
It's just-
You're going 14 days. And it's in Asheville. It's some weird little. My friend went and he would basically you have to sit against a wall for 23 hours. Like sitting against the wall. Literally.
So, all right, so I don't want to glorify getting arrested and
Oh,
shit
sure.
like that, but I do have like a funny drunk tank story. I didn't get a DUI. I got arrested for something else, and I was put in the overnight drunk tank in York, South Carolina. And at the time, I was like 19, I think, 18 or 19. And they kept me in there overnight, and all throughout the night, people, like drunks, were getting thrown in the cell. So like it started when I got there, it was like me and like one or two other guys. By the morning, there were like 10 people in there. And all through the night, these guys are getting locked up, and they bring in this one guy who was wasted. I mean, this dude was like go lay down. Like he laid straight down on the bench and passed out, right?
Jeez.
So he goes to sleep, and he just starts ripping ass, dude. like just loud fucking, and it was disgusting. It's like he was drinking craft beer all night or something.
I was gonna say he got the beer farts.
Yeah, and dude, it got so like smelly in this cell that I was a kid. I was like pounding on the window, like, please let me out of here. This guy fucking stinks, man. It was the worst.
no ventilation.
That alone was punishment enough for me.
You were getting gassed in the drunk tank.
I'm good. I'm never doing this again. Let me out, please. It was the worst.
Just by farts.
I'm telling you, dude, it was never seen anything like that. You know, I don't want to get too gross. So like, it's one thing when it's you doing it, right? When it's someone else, it's fucking nasty.
Oh yeah. And you have nowhere to go.
No.
Yeah, we were locked up. We were stuck. You know, dudes were getting pissed off too. You know, if you've ever been to jail, you know, guys have really short fuses in that place. So
You're there for a reason.
yeah. You got any good lockup stories?
Oh yeah.
Let's
I
hear
got
it.
arrested in Virginia once. We were on a run going to New York. We were going Virginia, Philadelphia, New York. CBGB's. And I had just wrecked Stefan's truck. So that's what we used to use to pull a trailer. So I said, I'll go rent a van. So I ran a brand new 15-passenger van. And the story here is, you know the little round mirrors in the little corners?
Yeah,
up
the
there?
little corner
They
mirror.
didn't even put those on yet. It was brand new. I was the first one to rent it and stuff. So pack up the van, we're heading up. And I'm like, man, this is great. We're just jamming down the highway, hit Virginia, go right into Chesterfield County, which is going right into Richmond. And I see behind me, like this guy's like, cops kind of doing this like thing. I'm like, oh, just get past me, Jesus, you know. I'm only doing like 65, 70, you know. He gets behind me, goes a little farther, and I'm like, I think he's pulling me over. I'm looking with stuff. I'm like, he's pulling me over. So I pull over. I'm literally doing 65, 70.
Where's lights on?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so as I'm like trying, I don't have paperwork. I just have my license. As I roll down my window, he like puts a gun right into my head, yanks me out of the car, throws me on the concrete right now. Did you not see the lights? I go, I can't see behind me. I'm like screaming. I'm like, dude, you got the wrong guy. Because I thought it was like somebody was running drugs in the van. There was a rental, you know, so I didn't know. And I'm like, you got the wrong guy. And he smacked my head in the concrete. He's got the gun to my head. Gets everybody out of the van. Cuffs me, leaves me on the sidewalk, takes everybody else on the van, zip ties them to the railing. He goes, you were speeding. He goes, we have tax out 1 mile away. There's 10 cars waiting for you.
What?
I go, I didn't do anything. He goes, you were going 70 and a 55. I go, it was 70 miles an hour. He goes, but when you hit the city limits, it's automatic. In Virginia, it's automatic 55 when you hit city limits, but there's no sign. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, I'm in trouble now.
Oh my
And
God.
so he goes, you guys got any drugs in the van? And everybody in my band at that time did drugs. I'm saying to myself, no, but if we did, he goes, if you do, you automatic 18 months, you're gone. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just thinking about what everybody's got on them. You know, I'm like, I'm dying right now. He goes, but, you know, you can lie to me now. I got the dogs coming in 10 minutes. We're all waiting on the railing, you know. German Shepherds come out. They rip all of our gear out, throw it all over the interstate. And they're like, and the one guy's like, whoo, rock band, we got some drugs. Jail, jail, jail. They're pointing to us. I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying right here. So he goes through the van. The guy's like, you guys got no drugs. I'm like, no, we don't have any drugs. He goes, let's rip all those cases open. We had flight cases, all this, pulling it all out. And these other cars come up. Before you know, there's 5 cars there. There's all these young cops out there. And they're like, we got no drugs. He goes, so where are you guys going? I go, we're going to Philly tonight. We're playing in Philly. He's like, I got to bring you in. I go, I really couldn't see behind me. He goes, what do you mean you couldn't see behind you? I go, go sit in the seat, see if you can see directly behind me. So he does it, and his partner comes out. He goes, yeah. He goes, he don't have the dials. I guess that's what they're called. I'm like, so the other guy sits in the van, And I'm like, yeah, we were packed up. I didn't know. He goes, well, I got to bring you in. Because we made the call and they put the tax out and stuff. I'm like, all right, here we go. I go, what about them? Because they're going to follow us to the station. And you know what the station is? It's the federal penitentiary. They use the front half of it as the central lockup. And I'm like, I'm looking at this place. This is like Thunderdome, right? And so the guy's like, oh, you got any drugs on you? I'm like, no, you guys just checked the van. He goes, I'm just making sure, I had shorts on, his shirt. I get there, they do the little retina thing with your eye and do the fingerprints, and the girl's checking me. She goes, you got any drugs on you? I go, no, he just asked me that too.
Sounds like these cops really want to do some drugs.
I'm like, I go, no, it's cool. I go, they already checked the van and stuff. He goes, I'm just saying if you got any on you. You got any piercings I need to know about? I'm like, yeah, I'm just pulling them all out and stuff. So I go into the second area, and I'm getting ready to talk to the magistrate, I guess it was. This guy was like 100 years old. And he's like, you got any drugs on you? I'm like, no, they just asked me this before. I'm good. I don't do drugs. I'm clean living, man. I'm fine, We smell like cigarettes. I go, well, I smoke, but I don't do anything. He goes, we're going to find out. I'm like, okay. Go in the magistrate's office. Now, the cop was a super hothead. But once he ran my numbers, he goes, you haven't even had a ticket.
Yeah.
I go, no. He goes, you've done nothing wrong? I go, no, man, I've been in a band my whole life. I don't do things wrong. I run a straight line, He's like, yeah. And he goes, you got nothing. He's like, you don't even exist. I was like, okay. Brings me in the magistrate's office, and this guy's like, what'd he do? He goes, 70 and 55. He goes, 50,000.
What?
What?
I'm like, I didn't do anything. He goes, what happened? He goes, you didn't see the lights behind you? I said, no. I said, the big mirror's there. And the cop was like, he didn't have the dials in the corner. He goes, did you sit in the van? The guy's like, yeah. He goes, any priors? I'm like, no. He goes, this guy give you any problem? The cop's like, no, man. I put him in the front seat. He's a good kid. 2,000. He just dropped it like that. So he's like, but good luck trying to find bail. I was like, why? He goes, the bondsmen don't take out of state. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. So I had to go into the lockup. Now I'm in this room that's about as big as that office over there. Guy got caught with Molotov cocktails. Other guy stabbed his girlfriend in the face. And this other kid had one boot on, cut off shorts, no shirt. He was rolling joints in a Frisbee in the front seat of his car, and they just yanked him out of the car and threw him in there. So I'm getting the whole scoop here, and they're all asking me, man, what are you in for? I said, I was speeding. He goes, you don't need to be in here. Another guy's like, what'd you do? I said, nothing. He goes, why you look like that? I said, I play in a band. He goes, like Stone Temple Pilots? I go, yeah, just like them. It's okay. Well, dude, he jumps onto the cage and starts screaming Stone Temple Pilot songs, like singing at the top of his lungs, get me out of here, and just like screaming. I'm like, I'm in the nuttiest place. Yeah. And then the other kid's like, with the boot on, he's like, yeah, man, let me give you a piece of advice. They're gonna get you tonight. You're skinny, you got long hair, you look like a girl. He goes, I want you just give up your food, give up your mat. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, your mat, that's money, man. You give up your mat. Like, if somebody's bigger than you, you give it to them. Your food, you just give it to them. You don't need to eat, you're fine. I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, my buddy was in here and they kicked his face in because he wouldn't give up the mat. So I'm just telling you now, give up the mat. He goes, but I got your back.
Sure.
I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, he's like 100 pounds wet. I'm like, oh no, this is bad. So I'm in there, and then they're caught. Now the guy hands me a jumpsuit. He hands me my mat. He hands me my tray. I'm in there. There's no bail happening, and my name's up on the little. They have like a LED, like a projector, and there's my face. And the best part is, you walk in. You're in this room, and it looks like Thunderdome. That's the best way I can describe it. And all you hear is, like, you walk in, you hear they're all eating. It's like silent. There's 500-600 people, and they're all like, I'm like, oh. This is just, the sweat is just coming off of me right now. I'm like, this is just so bad. They're looking at me. They're looking like we got this. I'm like, this is bad. So he hands me my jumpsuit. He goes, okay, man, I'm going to ask you one last time. And he's got this little device. He's got any drugs on you? I'm like, no, man. They've asked me 5 times. He goes, well, we're going to make sure. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn around, you're going to spread your legs, you're going to stick your head in the corner, and you're going to stick down as far, you're going to bend your head as far as you can go. And that's how I looked.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. And they go for the cavity search, they get you in there and stuff. And right then, beep, 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 beep. My name goes off. Stefan called every bondsman within 200 miles, and one guy bought me. Because he asked, he goes, let me ask you something, man. He goes, he ran my name. He goes, this guy's never done a thing wrong in his life. He goes, no, man, he's squeaky clean. He goes, would the officer's name happen to be so-and-so and so? He goes, yeah, that was him. He goes, I'll be right there. He goes, this guy does this all the time. This is his bread and butter, is getting people like this. So I'm like, all right. So he gets me out of there. So I have to go back into the holding cell. Now they're getting me out. So we're on the thing where you're chained to me, and it's from our waist, and then I'm onto you. And this guy stabbed this guy's wife.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God.
I'm right here. And then the guy on the other side of him, the little guy who's singing Stunt Double Pilots, he goes, man, I kept you alive in here. You got some cigarettes? I say, I got a bunch in my car. He goes, then you're going to give them all to me. I go, okay.
Absolutely.
I'm like, no problem. So, and this guy's tugging this way like he wants to kill him and him. I'm just trying to stay alive. I'm just like, now I'm in there about 10 hours at this point. I'm like dying. And they walk us out, and the guy's girlfriend comes up. It was like hustle and flow. Man, where you been? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, hold on, man. This guy's got my cigarettes. I'm like, oh, here we go. Give him the cigarettes. He's looking at me like, I want my cigarettes. I just gave him a bunch of Camels. Remember when Camel would go into the bars, give you the free stuff? I used to just collect them. Gave him a bag of cigarettes. And this is the best. He's like, you have to be back. I go, I got a show tonight in Philly. He goes, you're not going to make that. I go, well, I got one tomorrow at CB's in New York. He goes, okay. He goes, and you have to be here at 8 a.m. on Friday morning. My show's Thursday night in New York. He's like, if you're not there, we're putting a warrant out for you. I was like, oh boy, here we go. So I go drive to New York. And this is the best part. The only place I couldn't drive the van was in the boroughs in New York. I didn't realize it until I read the contract. I was like, oh, well, whatever. So I'm going to New York with a van I'm not even supposed to be in. And I go do the show, pack up, drink a bunch of coffee. Everybody crashed out and drove straight from New York right to Richmond. I pull up at 7:30 at a Walmart. He said, come with a shirt with a collar. That was it. I don't own one. So I go to Walmart. I get a shirt with a collar. I go to court. I get this little thing, set me my date, and went home. Okay, all that's good. Now, here's the best part. Best lawyer in Charlotte comes, eats at my restaurant. And I just told him, I was like, hey, man, I'm in a pinch. I need to get a lawyer. And I told him the whole story. He goes, my college roommate. He goes, call this guy. I call him up. He goes, yeah, I can get you out. I know this guy. I golf with him, whatever. He goes, I got you covered. It's going to be $8,000.
Good.
$8,000 in 1999. You might as well told me it was $1 million.
Yeah.
So I sell music equipment. I just start selling a bunch. So I went to Music Around, sold him like $3,000 worth of stuff. I mean, I'm just picking up shifts, paint, and do whatever I could to make my money. Call the guy up. He's like, okay, we're going to do it. I get to court. This is months later. I went with my girlfriend. I was like, come with me to Virginia, just in case something happens, And so I go there, and this guy is like the slickest, sleaziest guy. The slicked hair, the silver suit, And he's too slick almost. And he looks at me. He's like, let's talk. Okay, here we go. He does this little walk. He's got this thing going. He goes, okay, man. So if you're bullshitting me, this is going to be really hard to do. He goes, I just let this guy win in golf about 2 weeks ago. I think we might have a shot here. I think we're going to be okay. By the way, is that your girlfriend? Yeah. He goes, so when you go to jail, can I bring her home?
What?
I'm like, this is the guy that's representing me right now. I just paid $8,000 to. I'm like, let's just get out of here. Let's just do this, okay? So the kid in front of me, this is the best part. The kid in front of me, the lawyer's like this real weak guy. And they're like, okay, what's the charge? Okay, so-and-so was doing 80 and a 55 on a motorcycle. And the judge is like, what were you doing 80 and a 55? What were you saying? And the lawyer's like, well, Your Honor, he just got the bike and he wanted to open it up and see what it could do. He goes, open it up and see what he could do? 27 days, I'll suspend 10. Get him out of here. He just turned 18. And they cuffed him, dragged him out, and he was gone. So my lawyer was up there. He looks at me, he goes, like, we got to talk now. He goes, because what you did is way worse. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. And so he goes, okay, we need a plan. I go, well, what's the plan? He goes, I don't know.
$8,000.
I'm like, here we go. All I could see is like, I'm going to jail. And the 18-month thing kept hitting me in the head. I'm like going, okay, here we go. So I get up there, and the guys, the judge asks the thing, and the cop's way over there. And so what's the charge? He goes, 70 and a 55. What's the story? What happened? I said, he goes, my client was driving to New York, do a show. He rented a van. He wrecked his car. He rented a van. He'd never driven this van before. And the lights were on behind him, and he couldn't see behind him. He goes, what do you mean you couldn't see behind? And the lawyer's like, didn't have the dials, the little round thing, because that allows you to see right behind the car. He's like, "This kid any eye priors?" He goes, "No, nothing, not even a ticket." He looks at the cop. He goes, "This kid give you a problem?" The cop goes, "Not at all." I was like, "Ooh, here we go." He goes, "All right." So he gave me like a fine, stomp, we're out the door. And I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm like, so I go to pay my fine, and here's my lawyer like dancing in there. He's like, woo! Like, yeah, we did that. I'm like, we're in court. What is this guy?
He
like,
was
nut
on
job.
coke.
He goes, give me a high five. Woo! Yeah, we did that. He goes, now what's up with the girlfriend?
What?
God.
I go, I'm taking her back to Greensboro right now. I'm out of here. I gave my money, did my thing. But that's my jail story.
Oh my God. That was the
Almighty.
most
I couldn't make that up on a
entertaining
bet.
jail story.
I felt like a
worst
movie.
part
It felt like I
was-
just watched a movie.
Here's the worst part. When you get arrested for something like that, is that my car insurance back then, I drove a van, and it was like $3,000 a year for about 2 years.
Oh my
I got
God.
like, I want to say like 5 points on my record, something so crazy just for having that ticket. Since I had to pay the ticket, I couldn't get out of it. It was my insurance went straight through the roof. That was
Virginia's
a-
notorious for being like
Yeah.
hardcore.
It was
with,
in
like,
Rolling Stone 3
traffic.
months later. You know how they have the best issue, like best place to do this, worst place to do this, worst place to get arrested, Chesterfield, Virginia. I was like,
And they wonder why the whole like counterculture, why we hate authority, like
Yeah.
throwing your weight around like that doesn't inspire at all.
no.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
that's the revenue in that
So
city.
you got a story
is-
that can top that? Is it?
You're
Nothing.
speechless over there. He's just like,
Have you ever been arrested?
Nothing.
No.
My biggest regret is I never kept a journal because there's so many of these stories over, almost 2,000 shows. I have stories, and I only remember them when somebody like, do you remember that time? I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that. I wish I was disciplined enough to have kept a journal.
Yeah.
Because there's so many weird
I've
stuff
had
like
that same thought. There's a lot of like flashes of my life.
yeah.
Where, like I wish I remembered more of the details.
I do too. I wish, and when people remember, I'm like, oh God, that was you always do that. And I'm like, God, I wish I would have just, been disciplined. But
Bob, you ever been arrested?
I have been. It might be too long of a story for this, but yeah, I got caught with a gun on police property that I didn't know was police property. So
The gun was police property, or you were on police
so,
property?
okay,
Bob,
so
did you
I'll
steal
try and make it as short as possible. So a buddy of mine had bought a rifle. It was completely legal. We didn't have anywhere to shoot it, so a friend of ours was like, "Oh, back behind my house a ways there's an old shooting range. You can go shoot it back there." So me and him, we go, and he's shooting. He decides he walks up and he hip shots like the 8 or 9 shots or however many were in it, and he turns around, puts the gun on the ground. We had earplugs in, so he puts the gun on the ground and puts his hands up, and I go, "What are you doing?" And he points, and I turn around, and there are 6 cops coming up the path with their guns all aimed at us and stuff. And so they got us for, apparently it was police property, was the shooting range is old, but there was no signs, there was no nothing about it. And we were shooting some boxes that we found and stuff. So like, we could get you for criminal trespassing, for illegal firearm, for messing with police property, all this different stuff, whatever. And long story short, it ended up just getting us for criminal trespassing. And it was like a $600 fine, community service, and like a year probation or something like that. Then it got expunged.
good.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to shit on law enforcement. I did enough of that in my younger years. I just, making the choices I made as a younger individual, I had a reason not to like the law because I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing, right? Now I'm grown up. I'm a family man. I don't do anything, illegal. And I have way more respect now for police than I did when I was younger. But the thing that I can't let go of is all of the resources and money that goes into law enforcement, and they can't figure out how to train people to be more human. Like they can't figure out,
De-escalate.
they can't train these motherfuckers how to de-escalate rather than make the situation worse. Because there's some really, really, I know some really cool cops. I have a great relationship with the local police. I have to have this place stay safe, right? And there's some really cool guys, but the vast majority of people in law enforcement are like the quickest.
Hotheads, just like you said.
Yeah, the
Hotheads.
quickest to like escalate a situation. It's like, I mean, it's one of the biggest expenses of every municipality in America. Why aren't you training? And why are you hiring the same exact person?
They all had. There is a DNA type on that one.
You have to pass. You have to take this. The Briggs Myers or whatever the fuck it's called, the personality test that tells you what kind of person you are, and they're all the same fucking people.
Yes, they are.
Like you can't
Like they got
govern.
something to prove
You can't
or-
govern
yeah,
and
yeah.
keep a community safe that's made up of a vast, diverse. Many different types of people from different backgrounds, and every cop be the same fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like that math doesn't work. There's algebra there that needs to be fixed. And
There's this
my
mentality
big-
of
that's my big-
intimidation is supposed to solve something, and so they go in trying to intimidate the criminal or whoever instead of de-escalate the situation.
Yeah.
A lot of
Just
times,
screaming and
they're-
yelling.
like I used to wait on a lot of them, and they would tell me, they're like, when you pull up to a situation, you're going to be prepared to fight. He goes, if it's late at night, it's at a bar or something, your brain is almost conditioned for it.
Yeah.
He goes, and that's the thing. He goes, you put your gloves on, you just know what's coming, and it's hard to not think that in every situation. In their defense, I get that when they walk on,
And they
by
have to
something,
make those
they do.
split-second decisions.
Yeah, I
They
get
do.
that, but again, training.
Yeah, the training.
Yeah.
Training. I the one thing I don't envy is domestic violence. Right? Like those DV calls, I would not. I have no desire whatsoever to get involved in those situations. And here you are. You're a police officer, and you're stepping into what could potentially be the last moments of your life because somebody cheated on somebody or somebody stole some money or did, who knows what these motherfuckers are fighting about. So I get that part, like I get it. But you can still walk into dangerous situations with the right energy. And that doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Real quick, I just forgot the best part of that story. I'm in that little stall, and they're all telling me because I look like a girl that these guys are going to try to get me. I'm like, man, that ain't going to happen, dude. I know martial arts. I can handle myself. And the dude in the back goes, if 4 of them are holding you down, nothing you can do. That's all the words I heard from this one guy all night. He was like, 4 of them are holding you down, nothing you can do. And I was like, he's been here before.
Yeah.
And I'm scared now.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that was a reality. And it's weird. This is gonna sound weird, but I used to be afraid of a lot of things. Once that incident happened, it's almost like the fear factor in my body went away. It's like nothing was worse than that.
Right.
So people don't scare me. Situations don't scare me. Walking in a bad street, nothing scares me. I was in a bad place.
Yeah.
That nothing was scarier than that.
Yeah.
So everything after that, it's like, whatever. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, if you've ever been through, most people, if you've been through like a seriously traumatic situation, it's kind of hard to live your life in fear after it. Now, some people do. Some people clam up and they become a shell of them former selves. But, I've had a couple of experiences in my life where I came close to not making it through.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm not saying you should walk around feeling fucking invincible,
No.
but the fear has kind of subsided. The only
really
thing I'm
has.
scared of is my 13-year-old daughter. It's the only thing I'm afraid of anymore. Yeah.
I get it.
Do teenagers scare the living shit out of you?
I mean, the range, like the vast range of emotions, that you experience as a teenager.
because it's from 0 to 60.
and she's my daughter, and I love her so much, but sometimes I want to fucking choke her, But
sometimes you want to choke them. Sometimes you just want to baby them. And
any parent can relate.
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Raising boys is way easier than raising girls. Especially as a father.
Is it really?
Well, as a father, I haven't
had any trouble.
There's so
These
many.
kids are great kids. He's got great kids.
I've heard boys are
zero-
easier
zero
younger, or boys are harder younger, easier older. Girls are easier younger, harder older.
Well, yeah, girls are all sweet and stuff when they're like toddlers and little kids, yes. But as they get older and they become their own, like you just want to protect them. You just want to protect your daughter, and then they start making their own decisions and becoming their own people. I'm terrified of some of the choices she might make because
You know
don't
the
know
choices.
shit.
You know the choices you made. So.
yeah, exactly. I know what I did as a teenager.
Yeah, but we try to tell. But the thing is, we try to tell them, and they're like, "You don't know anything. We're not the same person. We have the same DNA, okay? Yes, we are. Just a little bit.
Don't get me wrong. I have a great relationship with my kids. I got my stepdaughter. She just graduated college. She was way easier. She was like the more quiet. She was the more like artistic and cerebral type, and my other daughter, she's more of the social butterfly. She's into athletics and stuff.
She got a little more Michael in her.
Yeah, she got a little bit more me in it. So yeah, I mean that's what it is. I'm just scared of myself.
Yeah.
I'm scared of myself coming out
There
of
we
her.
go. That's where I was going.
You don't have any kids?
I don't.
Yeah. How's that, bro?
Well, it's about my life. I've been doing this my whole life.
Yeah.
And I always I've dated people with kids, and it's just I always knew that.
Oh, you ever dated a girl with like a little shit for a kid?
No, thank God.
Oh, lucky you.
No.
I got
They
lucky.
get older there, some of them, but no, they're. I got lucky on that one. I just never really had that lifestyle, and it was the way I grew up. It was like I didn't really think I would. I don't know. Just it's like kind of like, and this is gonna sound horrible. It's kind of like a convertible. They're cool, but they're not for everybody.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
It's like.
No, that
and
doesn't
from
sound
the way
shitty at
my
all.
life was always been zoom, 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 zoom. I never had that. Let me take a minute, and I just never had that.
Yeah.
And also never had it here. So I
Yeah.
think, in fairness, a lot of acquaintances of mine, not my friends, but my acquaintances, have had kids just because what they thought was the thing they had to do. It's kind of weird. My
Yeah, I
wife,
have a
my
lot of
wife
respect
wanted
for that
kids. So I was like,
mindset.
oh, okay. Did you want them? I mean, give or take.
Yeah, they're
It's a big decision, man. It's like
Yeah.
if I did it, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be. I mean, I would be more structured. I wouldn't be living the life I live now. I don't even know if I'd be good at it, honestly. And I just would rather not do it half-assed.
I have so much more respect
Yeah.
for you having that self-awareness and not like diving into something head first.
I could have, but I
Yeah.
didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
because I know myself. He knows me. I'm super ADD all those letters. I'm all over the place.
Yes.
I would forget to feed my kid. Where's the kid? Weren't you supposed to pick him up? Oh shit! I love my kid. I would be that guy that people make fun of. You left your kid at school.
You would forget to.
I would
pick your kid.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know myself. I know it. I know I would forget to. You were supposed to be at the airport. Oh, shit. I'm
shit,
that guy.
yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I'm a horrible parent. So I just take that off the book. I'm good.
Mike, how does fatherhood suit you?
Absolutely fine.
He's got great
I have no
kids.
problems with them. My kids
Real
don't.
good.
I really don't give me an ounce of trouble. They're both wicked chill.
You enjoy being a dad?
No, I definitely
You would not take it.
I'm sorry.
You enjoy being a dad?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I do like being a father. So
No, I love it.
I like the
Especially
idea-
when they get older and start to get some personality to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can sit. Me and my daughter had a blast just driving over here, with
She's
radio
great.
cranked up, and I'm singing, kick songs and stuff to her, embarrassing the shit out of her on the highway. And
kicks.
no, it does good. We do good.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I dig it. Like, I like the idea of like being responsible for putting something good out there.
Yeah.
I spent the first half of my life doing bad. So like this next half of my life, I've been able to kind of help mold a person that's going to have a positive impact
Yeah.
on the world. Like, I kind of like that idea. And I do, even though, like, I'm sure I embarrass my daughter a lot when we're in public. I go to her games, take her to practices, and, when there's opportunities like hang out with her friends and her friends' families, I'm very verbose, I'm very outgoing, so I know it embarrasses her on some level, but later on, the least the hope is that later on she'll appreciate that her dad was willing to, like, be there for all those moments,
Yeah.
Because I see so many fucking shitbag dads that are my age. And I don't understand the mentality.
It's helped me too, because like my girlfriend said, well, Jade, she's got two. I'm a very particular person. I like my floors swept and my vacuumed and all the counters wiped down and everything has a place and everything goes where it goes and this and that. Now having two kids running around the house, I've had to be like, okay, that doesn't need done right now. I can clean that later. I can fold those later.
You've
I
learned
can,
some patience.
Yeah, or just not being so
Yeah, it's still part of
like
patience.
anal about where everything's supposed to be all the time. So.
I had to
Everybody
say,
get along?
Yeah. So yeah.
I had the same thing with Timmy when I introduced watercolor to our kid, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's everywhere!" And I just got a washcloth that was wet and just said, "Oh look, it's gone."
It's gone.
And he's like, "Oh." Just to watch that relief come on his face, I'm like, it's just watercolor, man. I'm not stupid.
Well, it's the two too. So Jade is a very whimsical person, right? She
Yes.
doesn't have any clothes without paint splatter on them,
Yeah,
because she's
yeah.
an artist and everything. And I, like I said, mine is very this. So I feel like we're learning to meet in the middle of this is for this and this is not for this.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah,
mean,
you guys are pretty polar opposites when it comes to personality types.
Yeah.
but it works. I mean, that's what
does
they say.
work.
Opposites attract.
Yeah.
You know?
There are moments where
does.
it's a real grinding, but
I mean, even me and my wife, I'm the more loud and out there person. She's the more quiet, reserved, but we love all the same things. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I just did a Trump mannerism there. I didn't like that. Didn't feel good at all. I didn't like that. But not like we're like musical wise, we're into the same stuff. We're into the same styles of art. Like all of our tastes are the same, but our personalities are so different.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I hit the jackpot, with my wife. So
Winning.
yeah. Do you think you'll ever settle down?
No.
It's shaking his head
Fuck
now.
no.
I like the pace. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I
I
was gonna say,
just
I think
I
he
do.
likes
I
the
like
pace.
the pace. I've been
It
at
does
it for a
suit
long
you.
time.
It suits you very well.
I mean, I work 2 jobs. I mean, literally, I worked 2 18-hour days and played a show in that 2 18-hour days. And yeah, my body doesn't like it as much anymore, but that's what I'm used to, kind of.
dude, you're too fucking good to be held down too, dude. When I see you up on stage and you're playing, and just because you're holding down, it's just a 2-piece. You guys are like the
Yeah.
most fantastic 2-piece, I think, in this
Thank
side
you.
of the,
we actually
like-
said that last weekend
yeah.
because one of the bands, there were only who was that? That was
It was the Sunday show, wasn't it? 6-story pyramid.
yeah, it was 6-story pyramid.
Yeah.
They've gone down to a 2-piece,
Oh, cool.
and Michael was like, "Have you ever seen Hellfire '76?" He's like, for 2 guys, they make the most noise.
The other
Yeah.
day was rough. So we played this venue, leave
Yeah.
it there, and they had a power problem. And I hadn't experienced this in years. Where I played, they had these, the junction box, little 4 junction boxes. They
Yeah.
were up on the
We have them up in the.
But they were wired almost. It literally looked like audio video wire. Like I'm like, okay, I didn't think anything about it. I saw the bass player put his amp in there, and he was. I found out after his power was dying. It didn't have enough power to push the amp. So it was and I kept hearing this low end thing, and we need volume.
Yeah.
We're a
Yeah.
2-piece band,
Yeah.
and my volume was swelling, and I'm looking at my pedals, I'm looking at everything. I just couldn't put it together. Amp is brand new. I'm like, what's
We didn't
going
know
on?
until it was done. I
Till
kept
we were
looking
done.
up during the show at him going, the fuck is the matter
And then
with
it was
you?"
humming. You heard that?
Didn't know
Even
what was
like we
going
could
on.
not figure this thing out. So then I look up when I pull the plug out. I'm like, that's not right. I'm looking everything. He had all these LEDs, all these TV screens.
Plugged into
Everything
one
is
box.
plugged, like hand wired, like taped. And I went up there and
Like,
looked at it.
the Griswolds.
I was like, no way.
The
And I
fire
got off
marshal.
stage. And then the other band was like, yeah, dude. He goes, my bass player's amp was dying the whole show. I was like, yeah, my amp was dying the whole show. And it's almost like, because they do mostly DJs, so I don't think they need a lot of juice in that place. And I was like, we don't sound very good without a lot of power.
And that's an easy fix too.
It
Like
is.
that's
It was
that's
like-
not a very
just bring an
inexpensive easy
electrician.
fix. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
I
these
feel like you're supposed
clubs-
to have the fire marshal in every so often anyway to look at stuff like that.
That's why I'm like, how did that pass fire inspection?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like from now on, I'm going to bring my own a power conditioner and just plug into what I call a grounded wall thing.
Yeah.
That little
DIY
homemade
till you
stuff.
die, right?
Yeah. But it's cool because you learn from shows like that.
Yeah.
You learn that will always be in my brain. Check the power source. So
Yeah, that's why when I was designing this place, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are 14 outlets on the
Yep.
stage.
Sure is.
There's
You don't have
not-
any.
It's
It's
you
one
don't
of the
have far
few
to go.
places you don't have to hunt
and
for.
there's
No.
so each grouping has their own circuit. So the 3 there, the 3 in the middle, and the 3 on that end all
You
have
them in
their
the
own
front
circuit.
for,
And
pedal
then I've
boards.
got the ones in front.
Hardly anybody's got that.
Yeah.
Because I always have an extension cord with me just to go all the way around to go find the thing. Yours are right.
You
in
can
the
see how
front.
much
But you know what the
forethought
crazy thing
band
is?
Oh, I love
venue
it.
has.
I've heard people
Love it.
complain that we didn't have enough.
Look, we tell people all the
They're
time.
just,
This
not
is a
looking, they're just not looking at
this is
the
a
right-
music this is a
Really?
music venue that happens to have a bar. You
Yeah.
know, so the music.
Yeah.
I imagine I wasn't here when you built the place. But I imagine that
You
was
thought
the
it
first
out.
thing
You
was
thought
Everything was
all out.
intentional.
Yeah, you
Everything
really
was
did.
intentional. There's only a few things that I would change if I had the chance to. One thing I would have done different is I would have figured out a better place to put the sound booth. Like I do feel like it takes up too much of the bar. Because when we're busy, like the door gets people like to crowd
Oh.
around
'Cause that's
it.
right where they're ordering,
and,
too,
and that's
that
where
they-
people are supposed to order. So I probably would have been a little more. Yeah, but there's really nowhere else to
Did you
put
not
it here.
put it in front of that pole?
But then you're taking away your mosh area, and you're and then people can get to the board if I put it there.
Oh, yeah, you're
Like,
right.
the reason it's there is because it's very strategic. It's like people can't fuck with it.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's the perfect space for the soundboard. Didn't really have a lot of options, with this space.
It's cool. You don't have to play loud here, which is kind of neat for me. I play on 2 when I'm in this room.
Yeah, dude, and you would not believe how often we have to explain to musicians just turn the fucking amp down. We're going to make you loud.
Yeah.
You don't need to be turned up. And then even still, some guys throughout their set will just keep inching up their sound.
Yeah.
And then I'll look at my sound guy. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, and he'll show me. He's got them turned all the way down. And it's like. Do you want to sound good or do you want to be loud? Because those are two very different things.
No, we want to sound good.
Yeah.
Especially being
they
the
don't get
two-piece,
it.
you want more. You want to hear the low end. The low end's here. He's the low end.
Yeah.
If I start clouding that space, it's going to mess with him
Yeah.
trying to dial it all in. And I just like that because I wear earplugs. I don't wear a monitor. I actually wear earplugs. So I'm mostly used to the way the sound feels on my back. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And here it's kind of nice because I can always feel the drums.
Yeah.
Because of just having the way it's laid out, you just get a little more boom.
Yeah.
And some places we play, I can't even
think that
feel
has
the
to do
drum.
with
I always have to lean towards the drums.
Yeah. The drum riser being hollow like that,
Oh,
too.
it's great.
It adds a lot.
Really does.
Because you can also feel it in the green room.
Can you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's one other thing I wish and I probably still could do this if I could afford it. I would like to get a line from the soundboard to a speaker out front and just rock the main area. Like during shows, just have a big loud speaker out there just disrupting downtown.
Because there's always people out front smoking, and people
Yeah.
they'll drive by real slow and have their
Yeah,
windows rolled down. They look. If there was just some music pumping out. So a lot of times, when somebody opens the door, I love it when people open the door and they come out and you can hear.
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody told me we had what show was it? I can't remember what show it was. We had it was Bruce Talk. Yeah, it was Bruce Talk. One of our regular, Mr. Wells.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Wells, he got my attention, and we had the stage outside, so we had music just blaring downtown, and a lot of it was heavy metal. And Mr. Wells pulled me aside. He's like, "I love you, man." I'm like, "Thanks, man. I love you too." He's like, "Man." He's like 60 years old. He's like, I never in my life thought I'd walk through downtown Gastonia and hear heavy metal blasting the streets. I was like, fuck yeah, man. That's how you rock and roll. I love that.
I would like to, either for Rooster Olympics or Bruce Talk next year, just like to leave my booth for a second and just see how far I can go and still hear. That's all I want.
It's a far cry from shag music, and
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I just wanted to see how loud it actually is and how far you can actually hear it.
Yeah, so those are two small things that I didn't really have the foresight to see.
But you did the deep stage where you can backline. And
Yeah.
a lot of venues, you can't backline. If you have multi-band bill, there's so much dead time on just
It
getting
helps
people on and
so
off,
much.
You just peel them off next, peel them off next.
Right.
Yeah,
You-
that stage was actually supposed to be about 4 feet further back.
Really?
But when we drew up all the plans and stuff, we made sure that we checked all the boxes. But when we got in here and put it to practical use, and we drew all the lines on the floor before we started framing, it turned out that there was a small discrepancy, and we didn't have the space in the women's bathroom for ADA clearance. So we had to push everything forward a few feet, which kind of worked to our advantage and kind of didn't. It kind of eliminated the issue of that pole that's in front of the stage. There would have been this gap between the pole and the stage that could have caused some serious problems with moshing and stuff.
It could have.
And it also afforded us the opportunity to use that ramp as our ADA ramp and not have to put anything in the front. But it shortened the room, and so it kind of took our capacity down under 200, where we would have been over 200, and Tim could have got his record from shows here if we were over 200. But I mean, I don't know. I'm getting too into the details.
Venue though, this is a perfect size venue.
Yeah,
especially
I say all the
these
time,
days.
anything bigger would have been too big for Gastonia. Now, I will say this. There's a good chance that, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 years from now, we will have grown to a point where we can look at bigger spaces and possibly move into, like the radio room just did.
Yeah.
They were in Greenville for, 15 years
Yeah.
before they moved, and now they're in a 1,500
But
cap
now they're
space.
getting all the nationals.
And now they're getting all the nationals, and we've started to book some nationals. Like last night, we had Trickster here. It was a great show.
How were they?
They were so good. That guy's voice he sounds like he's 20 years old still.
It really does.
His voice was amazing. And we've got Head PE coming up. We've got
That'll
Tommy
be a good
Vex.
one.
We got Black Flag, and we're able.
Black Flag will be killer.
I know we're going to be selling out that show
you're gonna
for
be
sure.
killing.
And fortunately, I got hooked up with a promoter that has access to some of those shows. But there's other shows that he can't bring here because we're too small. Like some of these have a clause in their contracts where the room has to be a certain capacity, minimum capacity, or the ticket price just won't make sense. Like I don't, and that's it. And I respect that. Like I don't want people to pay $100 to come see a show here. Just some of these bigger nationals they cost too much. I mean, there's bands out. I mean, people don't realize like some of these like bigger name bands, they're getting anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 a night.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to go to Live Nation venues because they are the only company that has the infrastructure. I know this is probably boring to everyone's tuned out anyway. Who gives a fuck? But I know that like it's infuriating. Like they have this whole infrastructure and it's set up to where they've kind of inflated the what artists are getting paid to and it's intentional because it prevents them from playing the smaller independent clubs so that they get all the money. Like they're playing the numbers game, and it's frustrating because once you start making a certain you can get that much money, why would you take less? I get that. I don't blame, and I love that artists are getting paid.
But the
it's
merch stuff, I went to see that Black Pistol Fire at the Underground the other day, and the shirts were $40.
Yeah.
And if they were playing here, the shirts would have been $25.
yeah.
And because they have to give 35% of it to the venue now, it's
I
like
think
That
Live
is the
Nation
nastiest,
stopped that.
dirtiest
That is
shit
just-
I've
yes,
ever heard.
it really
when
is.
I heard that was happening
The
all over the
yeah.
country with the
Percentage
merch,
of the
I was like,
merchandise,
get the fuck
they
out.
got so much flack from that I'm pretty sure, like I'm like 90% sure they stopped doing that. With
They
the
did
merch
stop
sales,
doing that.
but
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
yeah, that's just gross.
Because the
Like,
first time,
really bad.
we heard that, there was a band's like, you don't take a percentage. No,
I'm like
that shit's yours.
so, a lot of times bands make more off the merch than they do off the door here.
Yes.
Because nothing feels worse than handing a band $40 at the end of the
Yeah,
night.
you
Probably
don't
crowd
want to be a
last
venue
night.
that takes from the band. Going to being a venue that takes from the band is like an insult to the.
Well, look,
dirty.
man, this is the only way this works is if we're a team. Like
Yes.
each and every show, we all have to be a team. We all have to play our part and play our role and do it the best that we can to pull off a great show. And if we all do that, at the end of the day, if we didn't hit the numbers we want, we still had a good time, right?
Yep.
As long as we can keep the doors open, we can keep doing shows. We're going to keep doing them, but. It is a team effort, and I do get frustrated sometimes with when we book shows, and then I don't see the effort that from bands to promote the show and stuff.
You got to promote your
Yeah.
stuff.
How do y'all feel about bands doing flyers again?
I wish everyone would like. I had a.
Because we were
in fact,
talking about
for
that. I
your
think we're going to
show,
jump on that one.
I'm going to shout out the White Horse right now because their drummer came by the other day and picked up 30 flyers for y'all's show.
He asked me about that.
Yeah.
I was like, go talk to Michael.
Yeah, and he's distributing those flyers around town for y'all's show in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have one here, I'm gonna go make some copies. I thought about doing that, coming for the open mic.
I'll
and stuff,
print
just
one
to
out
kinda
for you,
Because
yeah.
I'll do them in little fours. At least you hand it. Sometimes there's that. Just hey, this is our band we're playing. Just sometimes making that weird little connection gets us 5 extra people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, and that's what it takes.
That
that's
personal
yeah,
connection.
yeah. And you have to love it. There's some people that just don't love it. But they still want to play. It's almost.
I don't mind doing it. It's just like I know in Plaza Midwood they're really hard on people with putting flyers up. Like you used to be able to go into a lot of businesses and put them. I don't want them. I don't want that. If it's not for their business, then they don't want it. It's like we're all kind of eating off the same plate.
Yeah, that's the thing that frustrated me because in the beginning when we first opened, I was taking flyers to every tattoo parlor, smoke shop, everywhere I could around town. And over
like,
time,
no, we don't do
people
it.
just were less and less interested in it. I wasn't seeing a return on it. And, to my point earlier, we still get more people from Charlotte than we do from Gastonia. I don't know. Maybe it's a demographic. Maybe everyone's broke. I don't know.
But we do
I think
have
people are
some. We
lazy.
do have some other
That
small
too.
businesses like right here in downtown that will put them up. They put
Yeah.
them up like the golf place up there.
Disc golf.
We
yeah.
always take the flyers, like the calendar and whatever big events coming up, and he'll put them up.
So the moral of the story is promote your fucking show.
Right.
Like,
And support your
it's
local community.
It's not just sharing it on Instagram. Like it's getting out and talking to
not
people.
everybody sees it.
Yeah.
Literally, somebody hit me
Now,
up there,
you
so
know,
I didn't know you guys
if you're
were
going to
playing.
share it on Instagram and put money on it, there you go right ahead.
It's like
Yeah.
5,000 views, and you get like 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, we can wrap it up, man. Unless you got more jail stories you want to
No,
share.
no more jail stories, though.
So I'll plug the show. So it's Friday, August 30th. Come see Hellfire 76. We got Manic Society, The White Horse. We got Ravener, and Den of Wolves is going to headline. So excited to
They're a
get
good
those
band.
guys back in
too.
here. They are so much fun. And get tickets online at theroostergasoline.com. Go to the events tab, and you can get tickets that way. Follow Hellfire 76 on social. You got any other shows you want to throw out there? Or anything else you want to promote?
New album comes out on Halloween.
Yeah.
New album on Halloween.
Which we would love to come here and do
I
it.
was
Do
gonna
our
say,
album
let me
release
check
party.
the schedule and
Yeah.
see if we can find something around there.
That would be fun.
Maybe Ray's show we can
Yeah.
add him that. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Peace and love.